I'm Mick Goedeken with Orthman Manufacturing, back again with another segment of what happened at the research farm in 2021. And today I really want to talk about nutrient use efficiency, specifically all nutrients, but most concerning to me are nitrogen and phosphate. In an environment that we live in today, we need to communicate that we're doing our best with these nutrients that we can to the general public. And a lot of times they don't understand. They think that growers are just buying nutrients to shove them down the river or to lose them to the atmosphere. And that's not the case at all. And I want to make sure that we understand, and maybe this is a video that the general public could look at and say, gosh, those guys are trying to do their best and they're doing pretty doggone good at it. So let's hope that we can share that information with the general public. And so we'll talk about nutrient use efficiency at the research farm in 2021. And then we're going to talk about the value of fertility. What was the value of that fertility in our strip till that we added via strip till, because we could easily shut that off and see, is there a value to that fertility? And we'll do that on both corn and soybeans. So we'll get a chance to walk through those trials that we did at the research farm and see what the value of that fertility application really was. So let's dive right into the nutrient use efficiency. And if I look at it, I have several hybrids listed here, and that's every hybrid that was listed that was on the research farm in 2021. And that P9211 Q, that thing, it was a 92-day hybrid that we planted. And in another video we'll talk about that. We fertilized for a lot larger yield than that. I don't even want to take that into account in our nutrient use efficiency. But if you look at a 92-day hybrid that we were able to raise 214 bushel with, it gave us an opportunity to look at some other options to do on the farm. I think about that research farm and our farm manager. It's his farm, and he remembers it as a kid on the 80 acres of farm ground being 5 to 7 different crops in a growing season or in a year. And now it's a corn soybean rotation, so it's changed quite a bit in his lifetime. So you think about the other hybrids. We had some yield issues. Some hybrids didn't yield as much as others. No big deal. We understand that we have variability. Some hybrids do better than others in different environments and different seasons. So let's look at the overall farm average, because that's what we're going to look at if we're looking at a full-scale farming operation. Our farm average was 279 bushel corn. When we look at our nitrogen use efficiency, so pounds of N per bushel of grain, we're looking at 0.88 pounds of N applied per bushel of grain. So if we think about a corn crop, that corn crop to make a bushel of grain requires 0.67 pounds. So we're just slightly above that, 0.2 above it. Our maximum or our best on the farm was 0.78. I'm happy with that 0.78. Our goal on the research farm is to get down to 0.7. Now, to do that, we're going to have to manage our N a lot. We're going to have to split apply as many times. We got to get that last application out there as close as tassel as we can. And remember, we're a gravity irrigated farm. We don't have the luxury of going through a pivot here. So we've got to get creative. Can we go to Y drops and get one more pass later and be a little more efficient? And what changes nutrient use efficiency? Certainly the hybrid can do that because of potential of that hybrid. But in addition to changing that is losses. And if we apply all of our N up front, we're going to lose a lot of nitrogen, or have potential to lose, depending on the growing season. We'll have the potential to lose a lot of that nitrogen because of leaching, volatilization, denitrification, and so on. And I don't want to get into a nitrogen cycle discussion, but there's a lot of loss pathways. Nitrogen is the most difficult nutrient that we manage. It's also the most necessary nutrient in a corn crop. And so there's so many other factors in this system, it's hard to control. But the one thing that we have learned over the years is that if we push those applications later to match when those nutrients are, or when the nitrogen is needed and taken into the plant, we can do a lot better job of it. And when we get to phosphorus, and you look at our nutrient use efficiency on the phosphorus doesn't move a lot. We get some movement of water-soluble phosphate, but we'd love to be at a 1-to-1 and 0.36 pounds of phosphate per bushel of corn. That's going to be pretty doggone difficult. Our best this year was 0.40. I think that we're doing really good at that level. The whole farm average was 0.45. And if we think about sulfur, sulfur's a lot like nitrogen. It moves in the soil, does a lot of leaching. We used to get sulfur from the atmosphere for free. We don't get that today. So we've got to be applying sulfur. We're doing that in split applications. We're applying it with our nitrogen all the time so that we can match those nutrients up and get enough sulfur into that plant. Our farm average was 0.21. That's not a horrible number for me. 0.21 pounds of sulfur per bushel is pretty good. Our goal would be 0.17. At our max, we were at 0.18, which is as close to that goal as we can get. I think we did a wonderful job managing our sulfur on the farm. I don't think we need a lot more sulfur we're to push these yields a little bit more. Our goal, we weighed 314 bushel corn this year. We want to weigh 350 next year. I want to push that farm average above 300 and do it economically, and not only economically, but environmentally friendly. And if I can keep ratcheting these nutrient efficiency numbers closer to those goals, I am going to be as environmentally friendly as I possibly can. Our zinc numbers, phenomenal zinc numbers as far as I'm concerned. Our goal is 0.013 pounds of zinc per bushel. We're at 0.016. You get out there in those minute amounts with a micronutrient, and you're doing that good. I think on the farm we're really good, really doing a good job of managing those immobile nutrients. We can do a little bit better job on the nitrogens and the sulfurs. I will be a lot happier. So let's discuss some of the things with the corn fertility trial, and does that fertility application pay for itself? And so our strip till was 83.7 pounds of N, 63.4 pounds of phosphate, 21.8 pounds of sulfur, 2.54 pounds of zinc. Now, this exact same application was also added at the cultivation. So this is only half of our phosphate, sulfur, or half of our phosphate and zinc needs that we applied. So let's think about that. So if we take away half of our phosphate, half of our zinc, a portion of our sulfur and nitrogen, what does that actually do to our yields? What does that do to our ability to raise the best corn crop we can? So we dig into the results a little bit. When we had no fertility in that strip, we raised 266 bushel, 0.7 bushel corn. Yeah, that's pretty doggone good corn. I want 300 bushel. I want 300 bushel corn all day, every day. Just striving for more. I want to do it economically. So when we put that fertility in that strip, all we did is we ran the strip till unit and just shut the pump off so we weren't pumping fertility. That's how we created that no fertility in the strip. We put that fertility into the strip. We averaged 295 bushel. 295 versus 266. That's 28.7 bushel difference. Okay, what did it cost us? It cost us $81.11 to put that on. We changed our revenue by $145 by putting that fertility on. So our net revenue per acre is $64.74, an 80% return on investment. Now, I love things that are over 100% ROI. Absolutely. 80% is very respectable. If I can increase my profitability by $64 an acre, I'm going to fertilize every day. Now, we know that this farm is low in phosphate. It's going to respond to phosphate very well. Had we had higher phosphate values, would we see a response? Absolutely. Because we still got to feed that crop, and that crop still requires phosphorus. So is it worth putting that fertility into the strip till? Evidence from this trial is definitely yes. I guess I'm not going to tell you how to farm, or what you need to do on your farm, but if you want to just improve yourself and be better every day, and I'm a competitive enough person, I want to keep ratcheting up things. I want to get better and better and better. And I could have left that fertility out and had decent corn, but if I put that fertility in, I got some really good corn. So that's my thought process. So fertility on the soybeans, we did the same thing. We shut the strip till off, the pump off in the strip till. So does it pay to fertilize beans? And I talk to guys all the time that say, "Oh, soybeans don't need fertility. They're just a crop we plant that when we're not planting corn, it's a rotational thing, and we don't need to fertilize those." And my experiences over the years is soybeans respond to fertility. Is it consistent as corn? Not really, but there's always a response there. And I think about what we had for a fertility program. And now, once again, I want to remind you, we are a low phosphate environment. We really want to push for 100 bushel yields. So we're pushing the fertility. So our strip till was 49 gallons to the acre. We were putting on 127 pounds of P2O5, 43.5 pounds of sulfur, and 4.5 pounds of zinc. We were pushing these beans for 100 bushel. We carried 61 pounds in. Typically, we don't put in on soybeans, but when you use 1034O as a base, you get nitrogen as a kicker or for free to carry along there. And did that 61.3 pounds. Did it hamper the beans from nodulating and sequestering their own nitrogen? In this case, we did not see any of that. We had great nodule formation early in the season, and it continued to grow throughout the season. So we think about that soybean fertility trial, and without the fertility in the strip, we were in a good spot on the farm. With 92 bushel average across that whole farm, we raised 90 bushel soybeans. And in fact, in the presentation, I had a guy ask me, "Well, if you're raising 90 bushel soybeans, what are you worrying about fertility for?" And my short answer is, why not get more? Go big or go home. We need more. To increase the profitability per acre on the farm, we need more. We want to do this economically. So you look at that 90 bushel without. When we put the fertility in that strip, we were 106 bushel. That's 15.9, almost 16 bushel difference. Okay, that fertility, it cost us something. It cost $130 an acre. And I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of people say, "Man, you're pushing that. That's a lot of money to be putting into soybeans." But does it really take a lot to pay for soybeans? Soybeans are worth a lot. We use $12.27 because that's an acre as a selling price. At the day of harvest, that's what the cash price was. $12.27 is a pretty good price for beans per bushel. If at that price we had a revenue change of $195.28 on a $130 investment, we put in our pocket another $64.59 per acre. That's huge. That's the difference of getting a new pickup, mama getting a new kitchen, mama getting a new dining room set, whatever. You can do a lot of things with an extra $64 an acre on your soybeans. Now, will you see that dramatic of an increase of 16 bushel in every environment? No. But you will see a response to fertility. I will say you put that fertility in a strip till situation on a soybean, and you gain more out of it than you will in a broadcast situation. That the whole reason behind that is, if you think about that soybean root structure, it's narrow, it's a tap-rooted structure, and we place that nutrients precisely right below where that root's going to go. It's going to run into that nutrient and say, oh man, this tastes good, I'm going to keep sucking up these nutrients, and my yields are going to keep bumping up. So think about your soybeans and fertilizing your soybeans, and not only fertilizing your soybeans, but utilizing your strip till rig as a placement method for that fertility in your soybeans. You'll be amazed. To me, as I walk around or drive around the country, and I can pinpoint from the pickup at 50 to 70 mile an hour who is using strip till and nutrients on their soybeans. You know, you look at mid-June, mid to late June, when we're late V stages, early R stages of soybeans. And honestly, that's an ugly time to look at soybeans. Soybeans are not real happy looking then. And when you drive around in the country and you start looking at things and observing, and because I'm a nerd and that's my hobby, is looking at crops, you'll notice that those soybeans that are strip tilled are happier and healthier at that late B stages, early R1 stage than these other soybeans that are no-tilled and in conventional tillage, because they're starting to hit those nutrients and it's easy for them and they're growing and they're happy. That's something to think about, is that fertility on that soybeans. With that, I want to thank you for watching this video series. Be safe out there and have a great day.